All right, it's the Big Red Radio, 98 KUPD. Got a very special guest on the phone. Special guest, do you mind identifying yourself today?
Yes, my identification is Cris Hodges with Grey Daze, sir.
Chris, how you doing, man? It's good to talk with you.
You too, man. I'm excited to chat with you, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, we said this off the air, but I do want to apologize for the miscommunication on, when we were supposed to do this interview. But I'm just glad that we're able to sit down and actually talk, because this is the first time that you and I have actually talked. I think you probably have talked with a couple of my other coworkers, right?
I have. I feel like I know the whole team, and you were like the last person that I needed to meet. And so it's nice to finally actually talk to you.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, they saved the best for last, right? Is that how that works?
Of course. Yes, of course. That's a headlining slot, my friend.
Yeah, see, we got to put a little silver lining on that. Well, thanks again, like I said, for calling up. And, the reason why you're calling and the reason why we wanted to talk to you is because you guys have something big planned coming up in the next month or so. But I want you to kind of explain that, because you guys are going out on tour, but you aren't just kicking off the tour like overseas. You're kicking it off tomorrow at the Rebel Lounge. And so with that being said, I've gone on your Instagram and all that, and you guys talk about this tour as I don't know if it would be called like a transformation or moving into the next era. Can you tell me a little bit about the Fake Little Lies tour?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess it is called a new era. We got together in 2023. Actually, the very first show that we played out there was UFest.
Right.
2023. And so basically that was just a testing ground to see if this new situation would work, because they are huge, huge shoes to fill, as you know, with the passing of Chester Bennington. And we honestly just wanted to get together and see if it would work. And, the crowd reception was good enough to where we ended up going on tour all of 2023. We went to Europe in 2024. Mm-hmm. And here we are, full circle now with new songs and possibly a new album and a new European tour. And honestly, we just wanted to kick it off where this whole thing started, and it started at Rebel Lounge. And that's what we're doing tomorrow, is just like a thank you to all the fans and kind of an invitation to listen to the new era and have everybody be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome, because as you and I were talking off the air, we're in our 40s, and during a lot of our formative years, we learn a lot about who we are from our 20s going into our 30s, now into our 40s. But for you guys, there has to come. There's a huge weight, I think, that will always be with Grey Daze. But with that, how is it that you, as the band, try to wrestle with the idea of legacy versus like a reinvention? Like, how do you strike that balance between honoring Chester's legacy with the band and then now carving out a new identity for yourself as Chris and as Grey Daze?
Well, for one, everything is fan dictated. So we're not doing anything out of a selfish ambition, if you will. Mm-hmm. So even the UFest show, was brought on by fans that wanted it, and the European tour was brought on by fans that wanted it. The new music that we have written is fan dictated, and so we're literally just we're flowing. Whatever the audience wants, that's what we are happy to provide.
Sure.
And to your point, like, how do you balance between legacy and a new era? Well, we spent the first 2.5 years supporting the legacy, and that was what the tour was supporting and honoring the legacy. And as we move into this new era, I mean, there's so many things that we're doing within the show that continues to honor the legacy of Chester, and we're going to keep those in our show no matter how much new music we write.
When it comes down to the writing, and there was a really great question that I asked to my audience on Facebook, and this question comes from Lindsay Reniger, and she wants to know, like, when it comes down to the writing and your contributions to Grey Daze, like, what is the main and core difference between you and the writing that happened with Chester?
Shout out to Lindsay. That's a really, really good question. I don't know Chester's process. I don't know what his process was for writing. I can tell you mine, and mine is the guys will deliver me a piece of music. It's not fully fleshed out, but it's a piece of music. And what I tend to do is I go into my studio here in Los Angeles. I sit by myself. I am in the dark by myself, and I let the song speak to me and what the song needs to say, what I need to communicate through this piece of music. And that's kind of how I've always written, and that's how I've been writing with Grey Daze. And to be honest, it is a very, very unique feeling to be writing with Grey Daze, because honestly, man, I do feel his spirit, and I do feel that he's still a part of this. And so I just honor that, and hopefully my voice comes through this as well.
Right. Yeah, I think, man, I got to tell you, from the perspective of someone who watches from the outside, looking at you and looking at the person who's coming in, filling these shoes, it's got to be just super tough to just be able to kind of wrestle with that. But I would imagine that you have gone through enough in your own life where you have been able to face numerous challenges. Like I think you're into exercise. I think you've done like Tough Mudder stuff, and so I imagine a lot of that plays into your mental focus of how to maintain an originality with Grey Daze. No?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I struggle with depression and anxiety as well, and I think that that's why I grew up just loving Chester's his whole persona. He kind of gave us permission to start talking about it and to go get help. And part of my help is physical fitness. Part of my help is meditation, and then obviously doing what I love, which is touring and playing music. And so balancing all of that together it's kept me alive. It's kept me strong. And, I think it's going to serve me in the future as well.
You would probably say that like exercise is that's your addiction, right? Because I mean, that's what it is for me. But would you say that's fair?
Yes.
It's your addiction?
Yes. I definitely have an addictive personality, and that has not served me in the past.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But that can be used in good ways too. So, working out, health and fitness produces hormones like serotonin, like dopamine, which are the exact same hormones that are released when you take drugs or you do all of the fun stuff that you're not supposed to do at 40 years old.
Right.
And so it produces the same type of drug, but the result is way, way different.
Yeah, absolutely. The runner's high for me is what really makes it worth it. I mean, I was never a big drug guy, but I was a big alcohol guy, and I just loved the thrill of getting, hammered at the bar in Scottsdale somewhere, but always feeling like trash the next day. That was never a fun feeling. But the runner's high,
dude. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
The runner's high is way different. I didn't know you were a runner. Are you like a marathon guy?
Oh God, no, dude. Like so. Back when I was about 40, I would run. I would hike up Paiesto Peak, and I would jog, and I would just do. I was never anything competitive. And then, long story short, I sprained my ankle quite a few times within the last 10 years. So I would say about 4 times within both ankles. So that's kind of left me a little bit immobile. So I took up yoga, like power yoga, and so you still get that same runner's high when you do power yoga.
Yes, and yoga in general, like, dude, you wanna live till you're 120, go do yoga 3 times a week.
Exactly. Yeah. People don't realize that the concentration and the breathing alone, how that just will enhance your life 100 times over the course of the week.
Yeah, it's insane. I totally agree.
Oh yeah, but back to the music, man. I don't want to keep away from the music. With Grey Daze and getting back out on tour, and you having this great response for UFest, what are some standout moments that you've gotten out on the road that really are telling you guys, yes, this has to be something that we continue, not just for, a legacy, but for us as well?
Yeah. So, anytime you're in a relationship or you're dating, you're getting to know the person that's in front of you, and there's a connection that happens that you both just feel. And so when we went out on the road, I didn't know how I was going to be accepted. I had no idea. I know what I saw online. I know what I've heard online, and it was mainly good, but in person, you just never know. And so whenever I started performing with Grey Daze live and I started building the relationship with the fans, looking the fans in the eyes, holding their hands, getting out in the crowd with them, and just putting on a performance for them, I started feeling them.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really special moment. Lots of tears, lots of laughter, lots of happiness, lots of hugs. And honestly, it's a relationship that is so special to me with the Grey Daze audience. And as long as the Grey Daze audience wants us to do this, we're going to continue to do this.
You got to listen to the fans, listen to the audience. I mean, look at a lot of legacy bands that are around today, and they still continue to go on. I mean, I think of bands kind of like Testament. Testament's still going on.
Yeah.
Exodus is still going on. They may not be playing to arenas, but they still listen to the fans, still play. And I think that by honoring the fans and honoring what they love, that's the greatest gift, I think, as an artist, wouldn't you say, that you could give to them, and not only to them, but just to yourself as a human?
Yes, in fact, I mean, honestly, even the smaller clubs you mentioned, not everybody gets to play stadiums. You're a very, very lucky few that actually gets to go and play stadiums. To be in a room with 400 people or 300 people is so awesome to me. And I find it to be more intimate. I find that I get a better connection with the audience. And so I have absolutely no problem going around and playing to 300 to 500 people, Grey Daze fans in the U.S. or Europe. There's a special uniqueness to it that I kind of dig.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, that's interesting you bring that up, and this isn't because I want to promote anything that I'm doing, but I wrote an essay about this, about how Ray Luzier, drummer from Korn, I'd run into him in 2019 over at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, and I had never met him before, but I had seen him play before, back about like 12 years prior, when he was with the band Army of Anyone. And they were booked for the State Farm Stadium show during Bike Week. And so when my coworker and I went to that show, we thought, oh, this is going to be a huge show. There's going to be probably at least 5,000 to 10,000 people show up. We got to that show, and there were only about 50 people that were at that show, and it topped out probably at 100. And when I told Ray about that, he was like, man, that was the best show we had ever done, because it was so close and so intimate. And you don't truly realize that from musicians or artists, that they do like those smaller shows because of the intimacy, because they can get to know the fans.
Yeah, Shannon, you're so on point with that, because a lot of people will look at shows like that and say this musician's a failure. And honestly, a lot of musicians that maybe are in it for the wrong reasons, they'll look at one of those shows where 50 people, 100 people, 500 people come out, and they feel like a failure. I have felt like that in my career as well, where unless I have a sold-out show, 5,000 to 10,000 people, if it's anything less, then I am a failure. And that's just not true, because each size room brings something unique to the show. I could never connect with the people in the way that I've connected with the people in an arena versus London, the garage in London with 400 people, 450 people. It is a totally different situation. So you're right, man. I don't consider that failure.
Yeah. I look at it as experience, right? I think it's more experience. It's rehearsal, really. When you...
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And what do you do at your rehearsal? You joke around with your friends and you hang out and you play music.
Yeah, totally. So I don't think it's ever like, a failure. And I think that is a big misconception that I think people have, is that, the show didn't sell out. I mean, I would rather hang out with my friends. I mean, are big crowds great? Absolutely. I mean, but it's those smaller crowds that I think are equally as valuable too. Talking about going into shows and doing this show tomorrow night, you guys are getting ready to get out on tour, and you're playing Lisbon. Is that your first date? That's your first date after your Phoenix date, right?
Yeah, so we're going to kick it off at the Rebel Lounge tomorrow night, and then we fly out to Lisbon, and we start the European leg next Friday.
Okay.
Yes, next Saturday.
And what can these people like? You're doing like Lisbon. I think are you doing Amsterdam? I think I read.
Right. So we're going to do Lisbon. We're doing an arena, actually, in Lisbon. And then we fly over to Germany. We're going to do 3 dates in Germany. and then fly over to the Netherlands, and that's when we hit Amsterdam in a little town called Enschede, that's in the Netherlands. So it's going to be, look, the last time we were in Europe was probably my favorite tour that I have ever done in my whole entire career.
Uh-huh.
So I'm setting the bar right up there for this tour.
Well, what can the fans over there expect from you guys? Any type of surprises? Anything special in the set list? What can they expect if they happen to listen to this interview before you guys get out there?
There's going to be a few surprises. There's obviously going to be the new music. We have a brand new single that's coming out tomorrow, actually, called Still Screaming. And everybody will hear the new song for the first time at the Rebel Lounge tomorrow, and then all throughout the tour over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So it's going to be very much a mix of the old, the legacy, and honoring the legacy, and a mix of the new for the new era.
I mean, that's got to be a lot of fun for the fans who have stuck around for a while, and of course for new fans getting exposed to new music. I know that whenever I get to hear some new music, I get excited, and that's stuff that I put on my my playlist, and I just rotate over and over and over. A couple last things, Chris, I want to ask you, and I just try to be a little fun about this because you remember the old days of MTV Unplugged, obviously, right?
Of course, dude. I loved MTV Unplugged.
Right. So let me ask you this. Who was like one of your favorite MTV Unplugged performances that was out there? I mean, we obviously know Nirvana, and then there was Korn, Alice in Chains. Who else would you say was a good one from that era?
I learned how to play guitar from Alice in Chains Unplugged. Alice in Chains is my favorite band of all time, and I learned every single song from that set. And I had it on. Do you remember cassette tapes, dude? I had.
Totally.
Videotapes. I had it on videotape. I'm exposing my age right now.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, but I had it on videotape. I had my mom's old Washburn acoustic guitar, and I learned from front to back every single song on the Alice in Chains Unplugged album.
It's such a great album. Such a great album. Or such a great live album. Yeah. What's your favorite song on that one?
Dude, so I kind of dug Frogs. I kind of like the slower, depressing stuff. I really, really liked it. But Frogs is probably my favorite, dude, honestly.
Frogs. So I would put Frogs probably like right in the middle of my playlist set of favorite songs on that album. Brother was my favorite one because I loved the harmonies on that one.
Yes. Dude, did you know that? So Jerry Cantrell was sick. He had like the flu or something.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, if you watch that DVD or that video, you can see a trash can sitting right next to him because he kept on having to stop the show and throw up.
Yeah.
And he was still able to hit those harmonies, dude. That is a rock star if I've ever seen one.
He's like one of my favorite guys, like guitarists, vocalists are concerned, like one of my like the favorite of mine because just how he's able to not only play, but his determination to get out there and perform for the fans. I mean, just write the list down of what you like about Jerry Cantrell, and I think I could go through like 20 really easily, right?
Yeah.
Alone, if you were to look at it from a very face value, especially from that album, I loved the harmonies on that entire album just because it was such a dark time for Alice in Chains, right? Like Lane was on his way out pretty much, but they were still able to perform.
Yeah. And that was one of the last performances that you ever saw of Lane. I think maybe they had one more appearance before that or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So question for you then, what is your favorite Alice in Chains album?
Oh, man. So easily enough, I would have to say, so excluding the MTV Unplugged, because I don't see that as like an Alice in Chains album, right? But I would say it's a tie between Dirt and Sap.
Yes, I was just gonna say the exact same too.
Those are such great
really
albums.
Special about Sap, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean you got Chris Cornell on Sap, singing, doing some vocals right there. You got some Heart members on there. I mean, that's just an awesome album. I mean, and such a chill album that I think defined Allison. That helped define them from that point forward. But by the time they had come out with Dirt, I was like, oh wow, these guys are serious. They weren't messing around.
Yeah.
They weren't messing
I
around.
have a funny story about Alice in Chains. Like, my wife and I went to go see Heart in Dallas, Texas years ago. And I was like, do I recognize that backup band? It was Alice in Chains that was playing with Heart. Alice in Chains was Heart's backup band.
That's awesome.
And they played in Dallas, Texas. And I was like, oh my God. And it was William Duvall. It was all of them, dude.
Really?
And it was the coolest thing, man. Heart and Alice in Chains. Dude.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah. Have you seen the Gretchen Wilson version of Barracuda with Alice in Chains for like the MTV Awards years ago?
Yes, that was mind blowing.
Yeah. Like I was like, that's Heart. that's not Alice in Chains and Gretchen Wilson. That's Heart.
Yeah. Gretchen Wilson is a powerhouse, dude.
Oh yeah. I love her voice. I don't mean to take away from anything that has to do with Grey Daze. Trust me, it's. I know we could go on a tear about music all day long. It's something that I can do easily. But let's get back to kind of like what we have going on for tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, Rebel Lounge. What time are you guys going on?
I would encourage everybody to be there around 8:00, 8:30, so that you can catch some of the opening acts as well.
Okay.
We're not going to be too late. This is our kickoff show, and we don't want to. We're not going on at 11, so. I would get there around 8:00, 8:30. Again, expect honoring the legacy of the old, entering the new music. And if you're cool with it, we wanted to give away some free tickets if that's possible.
Yeah, man, totally. We'll give away some tickets. How many pairs do you want to give out?
Yeah.
Tonight?
We want to give away 3. Yeah. We want to give away 3 pairs of tickets to your audience.
Okay, cool. So we'll give away 3 pairs. To the 8th, 9th, and 10th caller right now. 8th, 9th, and 10th caller, 602-585-9800. You get to go see Grey Daze tomorrow night at the Rebel Lounge. And final thing, man, final words. You guys got a new single we're playing here on the radio station called Fake Little Lies. Can you tell me a little bit about that song, what it's about?
Yeah, so Fake Little Lies was the very first song that we wrote as a band in the new era. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of about meeting the fake people in your lives and how to deal with the fake people in your lives. And, making sure that you create some distance and respectful distance, but making sure that you don't let these people affect your attitude, your mood, or your future.
I love it. Cris Hodges from Grey Daze, thank you so much for joining us. And, man, we love to support you guys. Anytime you guys get to do anything, you're always welcome back to give a call, maybe, even do like a Zoom call somehow. I don't know, but you're always welcome back, and we're happy to support you guys. We wish you nothing but the best of luck going out on this new tour, going back out to Europe. Thank you so much for calling in, man. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I appreciate KUPD. Thank you for everything you guys are doing, man. I totally appreciate it.
Awesome, man. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Take care.